Jason Wells here, and I'm going to do a training video this week on a real world situation I had actually with a person in my own downline who had a prospect that was interested in my company, and they asked my downline 6 questions, and I'm going to go ahead and go through those and answer them for this person. And then you can benefit from what I do, because you could get these same questions in your company. They're not really company specific. They're kind of business MLM related. The first question is, do you do this? Do you do this full time? Any other job? And these questions are directed at my downline, Bo. But if I were answering these questions on a 3-way call, this is what I would say. Bo has just started to build his MLM. He's been taking the product for a few years, and now he's doing the business. So he doesn't do the business full time right now. However, he and his team, they lean on me for help since I'm full-time, and I've been doing this 10 years full-time. Now, I do other businesses that generate income, but my MLM business is my primary source of income. Now, Bo is working towards that, and so if he follows the same formula in training and effort and activity that I did, he can certainly get to where I'm at, and so can you. The second question is, I'm assuming this is a sales thing. Now, normally in this situation, I wouldn't assume what the person is asking. But since if I were talking to them on a 3-way call, I would actually ask them clarifying questions to determine what they mean by a sales thing before I assumed what they meant by that. But generally, in my experience, people ask this question because they've tried something similar to MLM, or they've done MLM, or they know somebody that's done it before. And so their only experience with sales with this type of a business is what they've seen. So they equate that, good or bad, to a sales thing. Many people feel that certain people are meant to be salespeople and other people just aren't capable. If that were true, I wouldn't be successful, because I wouldn't consider myself a salesperson when I started. Sales is a learned skill. And there's a difference between good salespeople and bad salespeople. I call it professional versus cheesy. All of you that follow Chris and I probably heard us use the term professional way of doing things and the cheesy MLM way. Well, professional and cheesy goes for all salespeople. And we've all had somebody who has been a bad salesperson. I just had one a couple weeks ago at a gym that I went to. I've been visiting my parents more in their county, and the gyms up there, and it's kind of a rural area, is slim pickings to say the least. And I went to one of the gyms to see what they had to offer, and the person was terrible. And the worst part is, this was the sales manager. I politely thanked her and walked out because I was not impressed with the way she approached me. And then we've had good situations. You've probably bought something and walked out and said, boy, that person was really helpful. I hate to break it to you, they sold you. May not have seemed like it, but that's called good sales. Everyone loves to buy, but no one wants to be sold. You've probably heard us mention that before if you followed us. Our training teaches people how to identify people who are interested in what we have, and we allow them to buy. And I say allow them to buy because we put people in the position to buy and not feel as though they've been sold. Our communication training, which we have on MLM Complete Package, goes into very simple yet powerful ways of identifying these situations. And then our endorsement courses actually help you put together a response when those situations come up. The first problem is not knowing when these situations come up for your business or product. The second problem is, once you do, you don't know what to say. Those courses eliminate that. And that's one of the common things that I see in my own downline, and why I put these courses out there in MLM Complete Package for people in the MLM community. What's the startup cost? We have various startup options, some that you can spread over a 6-week period, others you can do right up front. The average person spends $500 to $600, but there's ranges on different packages or buying individual product. It really depends on you, and we can get into more detail on that as far as once you've able to see the information. Now, obviously, that's the answer I would give in my company. You would have to slightly adjust how your company works. You may not have different options. You may only have one. You may have more expensive packages. The average person may spend more. They may spend less. The point is you just need to know what to say. What type of money is there to be made? She wants a realistic explanation, and realistically you can make a 5 to 6 figure income in this business if you put in the effort. And this can be a very tough question to ask because legally we can't talk about money because that could, the government feels that in MLM we could be leading people to believe that they can do the same thing, say, as somebody as me. At the same time, you don't want to be evasive with these questions because then the people feel like you have something to hide, or maybe you're not successful, or you're not doing whatever. My thing is I don't talk about what I make because it's against the law. And even though if I told them it would probably impress them, it's just not worth it. Like when I was new, I never discussed income and I never had a problem sponsoring people. But what this person wanted to know was, what kind of money can I make realistically? And ultimately, can I make a living at this? Which the answer is, if you're in a good compensation plan and you can get a good solid customer base in your company, and obviously I can say that about my company. I would say to her, yes, you can make a living at that. And we actually have an average income chart showing the different ranks in our company and what the average person makes, what the low is, what the high, so I can send that person that. Is it a scam? A lot of people in MLM take this question personally, but you have to understand there are some MLMs out there that are scams. They're not actually legal MLMs, and there's a lot of opportunities out there that people run across that are scams, and they're not legitimate. And so it's understandable that people ask this question, particularly if they haven't looked much into what you're doing. My company is publicly traded on New York Stock Exchange, and so it's really easy for me to prove to the person that my opportunity isn't a scam. So you have to find your ways of bringing credibility at this point so the person can just know that that's a ridiculous question at that point once they see the information you give them. So that's how I recommend they look up the stock ticker. I tell them that this should pretty much squash your fear that this is a scam. Now you'll have to find your own ways to answer that question. Do you have to go to training? My response is you don't have to go to training, but you'll have to do training in order to make money in this business. And most people have a bit to learn before they can make a sustained income in this type of business. And most of our training is online based, and it's accessible through your own computer, laptop, smartphone, tablet. Basically we have everything. And then I give people the website to my team and our training. Now, obviously, you guys have the same stuff in MLM Complete Package. If you have access to our system, you can show them the contact manager and everything that you have, and you also can show them the courses that we have that are available to them that are also found inside the system. So, our training is pretty complete, and it covers everything you need to know to build the business. And so for me in my downline, I have everything. For all of you, you have everything on MLM Complete Package. And what I normally say, and in this case I would say to her, Bo and I will help you and answer your questions every step of the way. If you have somebody interested in the products or the business and you don't know what to do, will support you until you know what to do. And then I usually conclude all of my conversations when I first talk to a prospect with my advice. I went into MLM with the idea that I was going to learn sales and other skills. I didn't do it to make money initially, and it just turned into a money-making thing. When I decided it was going to be more than a skills learning thing and it was going to be a money-making thing, I made a 5-year commitment to MLM. And then in my personal company, we're a health and nutrition company, so I made a lifetime commitment to the products. And I've just found that in my own company, the people in and out of my downline that make a 5-year commitment, as well as a lifetime commitment to the products, they just tend to be the people that do the best in the company. So for you've got to find whatever that is in your company, and I would give that advice to your prospects, because I want people that are going to take the product in my company, whether they're in the business or not. Because if people don't believe in the product on a personal level, regardless of what the business does, in other words, they're only on auto ship because they're doing the business, like that I just have a hard time with people like that, because you're just taking the product because it's a business opportunity, and I just don't recommend people do that. Now, I know in the beginning you probably have to build a belief in the product before you get there, but if somebody's in the business for 3 to 6 months and they really don't have a belief in the product, you got a problem. I just rather not have those people in my organization, because there's no commitment there, and so you got to think about that in your own MLM business. So that's how I answered those questions. You should find this very helpful, because you're going to get similar questions from prospects, or your downline is going to bring you similar questions, and you need to be prepared to answer them. So with that, have a great week.